English was far from being my second language, as everyone conversed heavily in Mandarin in primary school. After completing my primary school, it was either to follow my friends to a Chinese secondary school or to go to a national school. Weighted by the fact that there could be improvements with my use of English and Malay in a national secondary school, I decided to ditch my existing friends and went alone to a national secondary school, Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Damansara Utama, SMKDU. This was a brave step for me to being multilingual. The first few months were tough. My English was too broken, and everything had to be translated from Chinese to Malay. Due to the issues with the language, it was double the work for me when it came to studies. I was constantly teased due to my broken English. However, this did not stop me from speaking more and more in Malay and English. I was glad that I was making a lot of people happy from the snickering herd. Although most of my subjects were a struggle, I excelled in mathematics. Training in a Chinese school for this subject was very thorough, not denying the point where maths is universal, being all in numbers. On the positive side, in a Chinese school, homework could amount to at least 8 pages per subject daily. In my secondary school, it was only 8 to 10 questions per subject. Although homework was lesser, more time was needed to understand each subject. Evidently, it was better than memorizing the subjects by heart. In terms of performance, it was not very good due to a change of environment, but by the end of the year, matters improved. It was then that I started to learn about the diversities of races in Malaysia, Malay, Indian, and Chinese. During the end of my first year in secondary school, my first crush was on this really smart guy in my class. In order to impress him, my first course of action was to lose weight. Going to extreme, I started to become bulimic and anorexic. In Form 2, I was practically just eating watermelon every day and I would throw up everything I ate. I lost 15 kilograms within a month. On top of that, a lot of focus were given to co-curricular activities whereby marching and other physical trainings were required. Besides passing out many times in school, the drastic weight loss created side effects that affected my emotions. Progressing into Form 3, the year for mid-high school examination, PMR, my diet had to change. I went back to eating normally as the focus was on the examination. This saved me from being anorexic, and I also ended up scoring 6 A's and 1 B for my PMR. In Form 4, I chose to enter into the science stream. Also, I got myself more involved in competitions such as public speaking, sharahan, acting, and singing. That was when my love for the stage and singing was found. However, I was tone deaf and had serious stage fright. Hence, I enrolled myself into additional singing classes. Every day after formal school, I would attend vocal training classes. Form 5 was the year to complete the final exam for high school, SPM. All activities were cut back to put more focus on the syllabus. That included singing activities and outings. In addition to that, after school tuition and other intensive courses for SPM were held, I attended 3 different Malay language tuitions, 2 different mathematics tuition, and 1 tuition each for physics, chemistry, and moral studies. The only subject that really frightened me was biology because I scored just 28 marks out of 100 in the trial examination. In panic, I started my revision 2 months in advance. I skipped school for almost 2 months, locked myself in the room to have my own intensive revision. This was with the permission from my school to do so upon my parents' written request to the school. Stress was not a friend and food was comforting. I would eat a whole loaf of bread for each meal to get the sugar that was needed to force myself to stay awake to keep on studying. In 2 months, my weight increased 5 kilograms. It was my own military style of studying timetable, as there were too many subjects to juggle. SPM was my last examination during high school. And this time, I told myself to just enjoy the exam process rather than being scared or stressed. My scores? Not straight A's, but at least I gave my best and I gotten 7 A's and 2 B's. What really surprised my father was my result for biology. From 28 marks during my trials to getting A1 in the actual SPM. He thought that the marks were, printed wrongly for that particular subject. On the contrary, I was confident it was correct. Well, this was all worthwhile after 2 months of sleepless nights, all locked away in a room and with military style of self-studying. There was my secondary school life and exams memories. The next part got scary, which is where to go after secondary school. So many harder choices to make.